Okay. How do I want to start this? I'm gonna have to find the right music too. Whether you have ties to a powerful royal bloodline or were simply chosen by a god of war, you have been gifted privileged access to a reliquary of arms, which you can summon in battle at will. I was trying to write something for this one. For my last two videos, kind of had a description, a scene, really displaying, at least trying to give some visual explanation of what to expect from that particular subclass. Anyone who's watched my Circle of Shadows Druid video, I apologize. I'm going to go back at some point and actually completely redo that video because you cannot hear me. I even played it in my car, which can get pretty loud, and I had to have the volume up all the way to be able to hear what I was saying. And you can't even tell there's music in the video. The link is still there to go see the document on Homebrewery, so that's fine. You can still click and see, but you're not going to be able to hear me in that video. So at some point, I'll go back and I'll fix that. But for the time being, moving forward. So a chosen warrior. The easiest way I can explain what we're going to be diving into with this subclass is you're a fighter, and I want you to think Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, Noctis from Final Fantasy 15. This is an individual that can summon and use weapons at will. They will have no need to be keeping weapons on their person. They will always have access to an array of weapons at their disposal. So we're going to go ahead and kick it off here with the first feature we get from taking this subclass at level 3 as a fighter, and it is a proficiency bonus. So depending on what route you want to take, whether or not you want your character to end up having some ties to a bloodline, whether you want it to be a gift from a god, or you homebrew it yourself in your own way of how it is that your character came to have access to this reliquary of arms, you can choose to be proficient in history or religion. Thought it was fitting, just a little something extra to give the character aside from combat mechanics. Our next is the main feature for this subclass, which is your reliquary of arms. So when you choose this martial archetype, you have established a connection with a reliquary of arms, a powerful set of armaments that your patron has granted to you. When you roll initiative, you can choose a weapon type and conjure that weapon into an empty hand/hands. If you choose to conjure a one-handed weapon, you can conjure a shield or an additional one-handed weapon along with it. Any weapon or shield you conjure is considered magical, emits dim light out to 5 feet, and dons the symbol of your patron. So whether that be your family's royal crest, the sigil of a particular deity, whatever you would want that to be, that is what is going to be sported on the equipment that you summon. So in addition, once on each of your turns, when you make a weapon attack using a weapon from the Reliquary of Arms, you can deal additional damage, 1d6 force damage. Sorry, that made no sense. You can deal an additional 1d6 force damage. There we go. I know how to speak. We're doing good. You can replace your current weapon and or shield with another weapon of your choice as a bonus action. So you go into combat, DM tells you to roll initiative. Whatever weapon it is that you want to take into that battle, you choose it there, and it's in your hand. Or hands if it's two-handed, or if you're dual-wielding, however it is you want to play the character. And then on all of your turns, as the combat goes on, you can use your bonus action to replace the current weapon you have summoned, and then bring out a different weapon. So this gives you a lot of options. Maybe you can't quite get to an enemy. You're just slightly out of reach. You have a great sword in your hand, replace it with a halberd, make that attack with reach. It's going to use your bonus action to do that, but it does make sure that you are able to do what you need to do when you need to do it. You have replace it with a heavy crossbow. Any weapon, any basic weapon, whether it be martial or simple, because as a fighter we have proficiency in both, you're going to be able to conjure that weapon at will and make attacks with it. So we get one more thing at 3rd level. I'm not 100 on this. It's definitely a feature that's going to stay in the subclass, but I've been kind of fighting of whether I want this to be a 3rd level feature, because to me, with what I'm going for here, with what this fighter is, it seems thematic, but it is shoring up a weakness that a lot of fighters have, and that is being able to get into the fray as quickly as the other characters. Monks don't really have this problem, rogues don't really have this problem, spellcasters don't really have this problem, but fighters and some paladins can have the issue of being able to get where they are at the beginning of combat to where they need to be in the front line and really fight the creatures that you are opposing. So this is Contagious Warp. You have learned to travel between the space created by your weapons when you conjure them. You can when you take the attack action using a ranged or thrown weapon, you can teleport to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the target, regardless if the attack is a hit or miss. You can use this feature twice, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a short or long rest. Getting it this early, I thought maybe just 2 times for long. And I was thinking of spell slots and what it is that spellcasters can do. We don't have spells. We're a fighter. We're not an Eldritch Knight. Maybe you multi-class, whatever it is. But a 3rd level character is going to have access to 2nd level spells. They're going to have 2 2nd level spell slots. And they're going to be able to Misty Step twice. A Warlock is likely going to be the only class that would be able to keep up with our ability to teleport at this level. Because the other classes aren't going to get their spells back until they finish a long rest. A Sorcerer could keep up with us. If they had Misty Step, they could do it twice and then use sorcery points to get another spell slot back and do it again. That's not going to happen. I can't imagine why a spellcaster would only be blowing their spell slots on being able to do a teleport. But maybe you're in a situation where it calls for that. But this is going to be able to get those fighters where they go, and this is where I say the Final Fantasy 15 Noctis vibe is coming from. You have all of these weapons at your disposal that you can choose from, and you throw one, and then boom, you're where that weapon landed. Definitely gives me some Final Fantasy 15 vibes. I actually wrote this a long time ago. It was a while ago. And I went back to it and I was like, oh man, this is cool. I'm going to do a video on this. So I don't know if that's where I got the inspiration from. I wasn't really a huge fan of Final Fantasy 15. I played it all the way through. And I had fun when I played it. But it didn't have any lasting impact. It was just one of those things. You do it and you're like, okay, I've been through that. I'm over it. We're moving on. So, all right. So that's everything at 3rd. You get your bonus proficiencies. You get your ability to access weapons at will. And your ability to, when you make a ranged or thrown weapon attack, using one of those weapons you've conjured. Keep in mind, has to be when you conjured. Can't be pulling out a dagger out of your pocket and throwing it and teleporting. It's not how this works. Reliquary of Arms has to follow with that. It's stated in the description. When you conjure a weapon, follow the rules. Moving on. 7th level, Armor of the Chosen. So your patron has added a unique set of armors to the Reliquary of Arms. During a short or long rest, you can conjure gilded armor from the Reliquary of Arms that reflects your patron. Only you can wear this armor, and it cannot be removed unless you unconjure it, which does not require an action. Your AC while wearing this armor is equal to 13 plus your Constitution modifier. In addition, while wearing this armor, you are resistant to one of the damage types of your choice from acid, cold, fire, lightning, necrotic, radiant, or thunder. Once you choose a damage type, you cannot change it until you finish a short or long rest, at which time you conjure a new set of armor, replacing the previous one. So, in my previous video, where I did the College of Ballads Bard, I had made a mention that a theme you all are going to see as these subclasses come out is I am building these under the impression that there is no guarantee your DM is going to give you the magical items that you want. Not every campaign is going to be a high-level magic campaign. I know there are some DMs out there that every single time you're starting to make your character and they're like, oh, choose an item. I do it. I want people to feel powerful. If I wanted to really kill them, I could do it. It's not my goal. The goal is for everyone to have fun. While it's easy to survive in Dungeons & Dragons 5e, it is also very easy to get shit stomped in Dungeons & Dragons 5e. It just depends on what the DM's willing to throw at you. But not everyone wants to give you magical items. So I am building these subclasses so that it is your features being granted to you that can give you these. And it does not make it any more potent than having a magical item. You might find a magical armor that is superior to this feature. And it might make this feature irrelevant. But there's no guarantee of that. And you don't know what type of armor it's going to be. Maybe your dungeon master rolls on a table and you get a breastplate and you want it full plate. Still good armor, not what you wanted. This lets you flavor what this armor looks like until your heart is content. You can say it is whatever you want it to be, and it gives you the 13 plus your con. And fighters want con. You want good con. I would argue you're going to have a minimum of 14, if not 16 or 18 con. So, you'll have a decent armor class. Is it going to be as good as wearing full plate? No. But you're not getting disadvantage on stealth, and you're allowed to choose a resistance. So, that's like having an armor of resistance built into your kit. So, I think this is useful, but in some games, could be pretty redundant. So, we move on to 10th level. And we're going to get tactical proficiency. So if you have become accustomed to your ability to conjure these weapons from the Reliquary of Arms, so whenever you take the attack action, you can choose to replace the current weapon that you have conjured using your Reliquary of Arms feature with a different weapon after each attack. So we're getting this at 10th. So on one more level as a fighter, if we were taking this all the way up, we would have 3 attacks at 11th level. So that would mean, to put into perspective the combo that we could be pulling off here, you have a longbow currently conjured. And you make a ranged attack with that longbow, and you hit a creature from 120 feet away. You could now use one of your uses of your Contingent Warp. You're now within 5 feet of that creature, but you have a bow in your hand. With this, you can now change that weapon to whatever you need it to be. So you got close to that creature by making a longbow attack. You're now in front of it. Great sword, smack. You kill it. You weren't sure if you could. There's a creature within 5 feet. I use my greatsword attack. Boom, I have a halberd. Attack with reach. So this is now giving you the option every time you make an attack using the attack action. After that attack is concluded, whether it's a hit or miss, you made the first attack of your attack action, you can now replace the current weapon that you were using. This gives you complete freedom, and now we're really feeling like we have a complete array of weapons at our disposal. And this is negating the action, the interact with object action that would be required, because you can replace a weapon in combat. If you have a greatsword in your hand and you want to pull out your hand crossbow, you can do that, but now you're not going to be able to do anything else. With this, you can just dismiss the weapon you have, summon a new one, Now we're cooking with gas. Now some stuff's happening. So in addition, your Reliquary of Arm weapons gain a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls. This attack bonus increases to +2 at 15th and +3 at 18th level. So again, we had the same thing happen with the Circle of Shadows. They get a bonus. So of theirs is a little more connected to them killing creatures. What were using weapons? Like I said, maybe you get a magical weapon. Maybe that doesn't apply. Maybe you're going to want to use that magical weapon, and you're just going to use your Reliquary of Arms to make hand crossbow attacks, or throw some daggers, or a javelin, or however it is you want it to work for you, and you have this powerful magical weapon that's far superior than using this. You're still going to get the bonus on those weapons too, as long as it is a weapon you conjured. So we are getting a +1 now, and this will eventually reach up to a +3 once we get to 18th level. So you do not need to stress about whether you're getting magical items, because your items are already going to be magical. We get to 15th level, and this is the feature that I was originally going to put at 3rd level, and then I was going to put the contingent warp down here at 15th level, but that just seemed really late. I don't know. The ability to teleport using your weapons felt like one of the main things that this archetype is going for. And getting it this late would just be so unfortunate. I can just see somebody looking at this subclass and reading it and getting to that 15th level feature. Hey, man, I'm never going to get to use this. I'm just never going to get this. Because how many people actually make it to 15th level? A lot of games don't go that far. I would say most probably end around the lower teens. I'm in a game currently. We're level 12. And how everything's going, we are at the beginning of the end. And it's seeming like we'll probably be around 14th level, maybe 15th level when that campaign ends. And the 15th level will probably be like, oh, the campaign's over, and now your character's level 15, and we do something from there. But I don't believe that will continue. I'm pretty sure the DM's going to want to do something else. I would like to do something else. I love my character. It's probably one of the favorite characters I've ever played in Dungeons & Dragons. But I have such a backlog of characters that I want to play, that I've made, that I've optimized, that I've flavored. It's so hard. Why can't we just play D&D all day, right? All the characters we want to play. It's rough. But anyway, ranting. I do that a lot. 15th level. If you want to argue that this should have been the 3rd level feature, and you want to take the contingent warp back to the 15th level feature, by all means, I understand thinking of that. The idea of a fighter having a teleportation ability might seem a bit much for some DMs or maybe some other players. I don't really think so. A lot of other characters are going to get access to some form of teleportation. Yes, it's useful. It's not broken. It's easy to get. You could take a few level dips. You could get it through the Fate Touched feat. So there's ways you could still be able to teleport as a fighter without having that. But to me, the ability to make those ranged or thrown weapon attacks and teleport to a space near where that weapon attack was aimed just fits for what we're going through here with this subclass. So for us, at 15th level, we are going to get the Warhorn. So as a bonus action, you conjure and sound a Warhorn, granting you and friendly creatures within 60 feet of you that can hear the horn temporary hit points equal to your fighter level. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. So, nothing crazy. Just giving this character a supporting feature. Maybe they're the one that leads the battles. You know, you got your bard or whoever it is that's your figure face when you're dealing with politics and diplomatic things. But when it comes to battle, your character's the one that leads the charge, and they're going to sound that war horn. And everyone within 60 feet that hears it, it's going to be better off for it. So, and scaling with level, by level 15, everybody getting 15 temporary hit points really isn't doing much. You're really just shaving off 15 damage from the first thing that hits, because I can almost guarantee that's going to, whatever hits at that level is doing more than 15 damage. So it's just a small little gift of a party-wide buff for the first round of combat. Maybe the first two. Depends on who's getting targeted. Maybe your DM likes to hone in on one person and brutalize them. I don't know. I hope not. That'd be really mean. Unless they're going for the kill. That would make sense. Dragons are vicious, man. They will kill you. So this is the one. I had a hard time making this. This is the level 18 feature. And when I originally made it, I gave the fighter a flying speed temporarily, and anyone that came within range took damage, and that sounded cool. It was cool. So just all these weapons flying around the person, so it's kind of like the Cloak of Daggers spell, but on a much more potent level, and you can fly with hover, so you're just like, oh, look at all these weapons I have on me, I'm gonna fuck you up. I went a different route. Instead, I did an edit to the Animate Objects spell. This character doesn't get the ability to cast animate objects. They do, it's kind of how I describe it, but it works differently. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it. But this is going to be the longest part of this video, because there's a lot here. So you have mastered your ability to wield the weapons in your Reliquary of Arms. You can cast the Animate Object spell. Kind of. Rather than animating up to 10 objects, you instead conjure up to 10 weapons from your Reliquary of Arms. Each weapon becomes a creature under your control for 1 minute, or until it's reduced to 0 hit points. So the thing that's making it different right from the start, by 18th level, other characters are going to be upcast this, giving them more objects. We are not. This is the equivalent of the original spell. We're only getting up to 10 objects. But I did not mention concentration. So we just have these, which is phenomenal. So maybe your DM will argue that they don't like that, and they'll make you concentrate on it. That's fine. It is what it is, however they want to balance their game. If they think that's going to be too distracting or too overpowered, whatever. I don't think it is. I think they can make it work. Any DM worth half of anything is going to be able to handle that. So, as a bonus action, you can mentally command any weapon you conjure in this way within 500 feet of you. If you control multiple weapons, you can command any or all of them at the same time, issuing the same command to each. So, this is just verbatim Animate Object spell. You decide what action the weapon takes and where it will move during its next turn. You can use you can issue a general command such as guard a particular chamber or corridor. If you issue no commands, the weapon only defends itself against hostile creatures. Once given an order, the weapon continues to follow it until the task is complete. Each weapon falls into a size category as shown in the table below. So what I've done is I've looked up the weight of all of the weapons that you can get from the player's handbook, and I've put them into a category. So we have ranged from small to large. There is no huge here. There's no huge weapons. I did not put that in here. None of the weapons made sense to me to be that big. The damage on that is pretty large. So we stopped at large. We have tiny, small, medium, and large. So for tiny, we only have one weapon, and that's going to be daggers. So we would be able to summon 10 daggers if we wanted to, because they're tiny. 20 hit points, 18 AC, plus 8 to hit, 1d4 plus 4. And for this feature for us, because the spell does bludgeoning damage, and because we're conjuring weapons, all weapons have different attacks, or different damage types. So it didn't make sense that if we're summoning a greatsword or scimitar, we're doing bludgeoning damage. So I did instead, because our Reliquary of Arms feature allows us to do 1d6 extra force damage on one attack we make on our turn. All of these are going to do force damage. So if we had 10 daggers, each dagger is going to have a +8 to hit, 1d4 plus 4 force damage. That's 4 strength and 18 dex. Our small weapons are going to be clubs, hand axes, javelins, light hammers, sickles, flails, rapiers, short swords, war picks, and war hammers. All of these are in the 2 to 4 pound range. Because I just looked at the weight. I didn't look into whether it was considered a light weapon or a finesse weapon. I just looked at how much the player's handbook says the weapon weighs, which I don't know if you've ever looked at the weapon weights for Dungeons and Dragons, but they don't make any sense, man. They do not make any sense at all. But whatever, I'll take it. So these are going to have 25 hit points, 16 AC, a +6 to hit, and then 1d8 plus 2 force damage, 6 strength, 14 dex. Our medium weapons are going to be maces, quarterstaffs, spears, battle axes, long swords, morning stars, scimitars, tridents, and whips. They're going to have 40 hit points, 13 AC, a +5 to hit, 2d6 plus 1 force damage. So there is a boon as we get to our medium and large weapons. These weapons would not be doing 2d6. That's a great sword. I have a great sword down in large. That's good. You're only getting a +5 to hit, and only a +1 to damage, so it's not the same as you attacking with a weapon that's 2d6, but we could have more than one. So it's going to have a 10 to strength and a 12 to dex. And then we get our large, so great club, glaive, great axe, great sword, halberd, lance, maul, and pike. 50 hit points, 10 AC, +6 to hit, 2d10 plus 2 force damage, 14 strength, and 10 dexterity. And did I write in here? It would seem I made a slight mistake and did not put in my notes the difference for the weapon sizes. Wonderful. It's okay. I believe I remember. I was so prepared for this, right? Tiny and small are going to be 1. So you could summon 10 clubs, 10 daggers, 5 daggers, 5 hammers. If it's in the tiny or small category, it counts as 1 object or 1 weapon for us. Medium is going to count as 2, and large are going to count as 4. So since we have 10, we could do 1 large, 2 medium, and 2 small. Or 2 large, 2 medium, a small, and a tiny. A dagger, a hand axe, a quarterstaff, and a glaive. I will make sure I edit my link before I post it, because I was pretty sure I put that in there. Sometimes my program doesn't save my stuff. I'm going to blame the program. It's not me. It's not me, guys. I didn't do it. It was the program. It was probably me. So, a conjured weapon is a construct. I think I've said that already. It has AC, hit points, attack, strength, and dexterity, which is determined by its size. Its constitution is 10, its intelligence and wisdom are 3, and its charisma is 1. It has a flying speed of 30. There is a different stipulation there in the actual animate object spell, but these are weapons, so they do not have any form of appendages. So they are going to have to fly 30 feet, have hover. It has blind sight out to a radius of 30 feet and is blind beyond. And when the weapon drops to 0 hit points, it disappears, returning to your Reliquary of Arms. If you command a weapon to attack, it can make a single attack against a creature within its reach, and it has an attack bonus and damage determined by its size, as I already listed. So like I said, pretty long. If you're familiar with the Animate Objects spell, which is a very good spell, very powerful for bards, lots of bards take it because it's really good. This is basically that, but flavored for us. And I just really like the idea that this fighter has gotten so potent at conjuring and switching out their weapons that they just summon a bunch of weapons and just start fucking people up. It just sounds awesome. It sounds awesome. And you're already level 18. It's a capstone. So I'm not concerned. Any other character could cast the spell right alongside you, and maybe they want to flavor it that by them casting the spell, they're just helping you. Like, you're summoning more weapons. Maybe that's something you can talk to with your DM, that if your party members have the animate object spell, they can instead cast the spell like this for you. I don't know if the friends at your table are that nice and would sacrifice a spell slot for you to have more weapons. But I would do that. I think that'd be cool. If I had a guy that had this at my table and he was like, yeah, man, I want to be able to summon more than 10. I want all these really big weapons. I'd be like, got you. I'll cast animate objects. Let's go. Fuck them up. But yeah, that is the Chosen Warrior. However it is that you gain access to this array of weapons you're magically bound to, I think it's pretty cool. Flavor it however you want. But I'm going to go ahead and call it quits. I have a checklist of some things I need to get done today, so I wanted to make this really quick and get it all edited before I started my weekend. I have 2 days off. 2 days of no work. How wonderful. So, that's it. We're going to call it quits. I'll make sure I make the edit in the link so you guys actually know the size categories. I'm so sorry. Don't beat me up. So, hopefully, this has given you a cool, new, and fun way to play Dungeons & Dragons at your table. Thank you all. Please like and subscribe and hit that alarm bell so it goes ring-a-ding-ding whenever I post new videos. And I thank you all. Peace.